welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we carry on raging our way through the Quake Pro League Stage 3, Week 4. Effortless will be facing off versus Dooi this time around in our third matchup of the night. Dan, let's start with Effortless, of course, a man that makes it look oh so easy on the server. I think he's really been fired up since Poland. Obviously, last week he wanted to prove a point. He had a good stab at it. His desk looks amazing as well. He's put a lot of time into his setup, and
Uh-huh.
that's been paying off.
Yeah, I think he would be disappointed to be 19th.
Mm,
Um, I th- Personally, I think he has a lot to offer. Just doesn't
yeah.
always kind of going almost kind of like Ron, but doesn't always bring it. His play style can be overly aggressive sometimes, so games kind of spiral before he really gets a foothold. So I think there's a lot of areas for development. Um, but he's someone I do enjoy watching nonetheless.
No, he is fun. I think he provides a lot inside of the game. Hopefully this is the start of a new chapter for him as well, because he seemed like he was very motivated last week. If he can maintain that, then there is a lot to come from him. With his opponent in Dooi, however, it's a much more known quantity. We've seen Dooi be really quite stone chiseled into the
Mm.
way he plays, and it's just working for him. It's quite reminiscent of obviously what we've seen from base now, where I think they've found that the true slow play style with a sprinkling of aggression at key times is working so well in the current meta.
Yeah, we've discussed at length why Dewey has ended up in the way he is, but
Hmm.
as you say, like he's found what works for him, and it's the kind of play style that unless you play against him a lot, he's always going to catch you off guard because he just takes up positions and has a tempo that is entirely unique to him, and that can be very frustrating when A, you can't find your opponent, and B, you just keep getting caught at these situations where you just you shouldn't be. So it works for him. It's not always the prettiest, but it gets the job done.
Oh, it does indeed. Talking of getting the job done, let's get straight into the groundwork of the series, the veto, and see if this is potentially going to affect our opinions of this
Mm.
matchup. And just have a look at the champion picks as well and see if there's any spice thrown in there. Hopefully, there'll be something tasty for everyone, Dan.
Hopefully. Anyway, starting on Ruins with Ison against Scalebearer for Dewey. Again, we've always talked about how much Dewey loves the Scalebearer. Saw this champion earlier from Zeniku, and I think it's going to be a very, very playstyle. Slow it down, keep as much of a core rotation as you can, and just take up strong points in and around choke points. Whereas the Ice are slightly unique on this map, but there's some good open spaces to use your turrets. Turrets are always useful in close combat fights. And once again, it can stop a bull rush if you use it right. So there's plenty of reasons to why you would pick it. It
Hmm.
wouldn't be my choice, but there's a good reason to.
No, yeah. I think obviously effortless as well. He's someone that does have a lot of success with the Eisen. It can counter the Boris, as you said. So there is some usability in that sense. Could also just be a comfort pick for him going into that. Moving on to Blood Covenant. This is a lot more of what you'd expect, honestly. A Nyx coming out from
Yeah,
Effortless. Both of them being those light champions that are very versatile and they can dip in and out of fights.
yeah, for sure. Um, if you play Nyx well, she's almost impossible to catch. We've seen that countless times from people like Kilson in particular, even Zron. Just yeah, what can you do if you play a good Nyx? But at the same time,
Hmm.
I think there is somebody who has a lot of utility to close a Nyx down when she doesn't have her Ghost Walk up, and it is a light
Yeah.
versus a light, so there is no real differential in that mirror matchup. You can be slightly more aggressive and get away with it. And Dewey, we know from history, has a good Athena. He generally prefers to use it more defensively, but as you rightly say, sprinklings of aggression is all you need, and on a blood run, a 1-0 lead could be enough if he gets that far.
No, his Athena for escape potential is through the roof.
Yeah.
If we're on his cam, obviously all you're going to see from his POV is the fact he is going to be rapid on his feet, scouring as many hourglasses as he can find to keep that grapple up, to just keep his distance, and it works well for him because he's good at poking as well. And then finally on Molten, Slash versus Doom. We've had a lot of Molten tonight, Dan.
Yeah, it's. I think it's slowly creeping up into people's preferred list. It's always generally the third map, kind of the decider of picks and bans, and it's a bit more even. I don't think anyone would say they are a specialist on Molten. Maybe Dooi, if anyone. There's always one that rings a bell, but yeah, I mean, the Slash versus the Doom is a really interesting match. I don't think I've seen a Doom on Molten yet. So, I mean, there isn't really any major benefits to using Doom on that map. Like, none that I can think of. There's no real jumps you can use that passive for. So we'll have to see what Dooi does. But Slash is, that's a good pick on that map if you play her well. Anyway, we're into Ruins anyway.
We are ready for it, yeah. And we'll see how that goes. I do agree with you, though. The Doom pick could be quite an uncommon one, so we'll see what the strategy behind that is there. Ooh, Effortless. Already trucking out the turret to try and slow down a potential bull rush coming out from Dooi, and put a bit more pressure on him as well. Talking of pressure, my goodness, he needs to stop the bleeding, Dan, as he is dead in a matter of seconds.
I mean, that's the best of a bad situation there. Perfect from Dooi, coming up the jump pad, hitting the full super shotgun, but not enough. One of the great things about Dooi is he is a scale bearer specialist, so his movement is exceptional on that champion, and it's always good to see him taking up positions. But this is what he likes to do: slow it down.
See, this is a good way to start off as well. If you're playing against Dooi and you get the opening frag, your life is going to be a million times easier than the potential outcome, right, of him taking that first pick. Because like Base, he's someone that is so happy with going, okay, 1 kill, I'll start working my normal routine, I'll start playing my normal routes, and I'm going to really grind the game to a halt.
Yeah, it was super valid. It forces these players who want to play slow and positional into a newer playstyle, but at the same time, when it is so early on, you can afford to carry on with the way you want to play. But at the same time, as you rightly point out, Effortless then needn't take any risk. If there is a corner, check it out before you go around, because that's what you need to do. It's calculated and slow and methodical.
Yeah, you basically want to like robot aim clear all of your angles and not run a risk of pushing something too eccentrically and then suffering a heavy fight for it. Okay, he gets the info here as well, Dan. So just going to be holding the angle with the rail, hoping to land a tasty bit of damage if he pushes round, but he doesn't realize down the bounce pad Dooi goes, coming straight back out though. As for such a big man, he's moving so quickly, charging in and finds the frag with the super shotgun. In a matter of seconds, things have been tied back up to a 1-1 scoreline.
Yeah, and I mean, it was one of those fights that Effortless didn't need to take, and missing the opening shot, it was always going to be in for a world of pain because of the stack that Dooi has to work with. He can just run and you face first. Good job here. Good use of the super shotgun, but it isn't going to be enough. But none of these frags are clean just yet.
No, they're very messy. So obviously every time their stacks are low, so the possibility for a refrag coming back into it. Ooh. It's going to be nice. Effortless has fallen to pieces there as he's got torn to shreds by Dewey's HMG. I didn't expect this much aggression from either of them this early into the game, Dan. Dewey sprinting away. How are they both still alive at this point? It's ended in a stalemate. What on earth?
Oh, this is crazy. No, you could, like, because none of the frags have been clean, they both have the impetus to continue running at each other. It's because they know, particularly to spawn with Dooi, you have such a big starting stack, you don't even need a weapon, you can just chase your opponent down. But at the same time, Effortless wants to capitalize upon the fact that Dooi is vulnerable, because as much of a lead as you can get is always a benefit, particularly against Dooi. That's a great rail.
The downward rail. Looking to try and scalp him and really punish. That is a tasty shot, though. My goodness, Effortless. Calm it down. The back tag coming through. Dooi, he's going to have to be timid around that turret. If he pushes out and runs the risk, he's so low. He was waiting for the heavy to come up. Both of them on such low HP. But luckily enough, Effortless is going to be able to tickle him with the LG and finish things off. Lucky there, Dan.
Lucky indeed. But this is it. It's going to carry on being messy because once again, it's not a clean frag. And once again, Dooi pushes in for 2 good rails back to back and ties it up. This is not what we expected.
Wow. Effortless. Picking up the tempo a little bit more again. He's got his arsenal back at least. He has those rockets to play with, so obviously for usability on going into a fight, he is in an okay spot.
But look at the stack differential, and you can see how careful he is, knowing Dooi might be around any corner, which he is, and he nullifies that stack once again. Effortless in a lot of trouble. Dewey's going to push in here. Doesn't realize he's down there though, so instead decides to back off, take the safer route, pick up the major item. Dewey's got him trapped here.
Ooh.
Oh, decides for the rail instead. It's thought he could have pushed him more aggressive there.
Sends himself flying through the sky. That's a good rail to get off as well. And this does mean he wins the race back over towards the Mega to replenish himself. How is he hitting these rails effortless? God, he's been getting the Kovacs in, Dan.
He has indeed. It's definitely the strength of Effortless is his rail, and it's good to see he's pulling out today because he needs to keep on top of Dooi and whittle down that stack. Otherwise, Dooi can be pushing in. It's like he can here. A little bit early for that heavy, and he completely misses the bull rush as well as Effortless skirts around the outside and somehow picks up the heavy armor and the Mega.
That was like watching a pinball machine, and Dooi was the ball just rapidly bouncing around all over the shop, Effortless avoiding him as well as physically possible. Comes out on top of that fight with a huge stack advantage as well. He just needs to land the LG, which he will, striking again and again to burn his way through Dooi. This has been a great game now for Effortless.
It really has. I mean, Dewey's made some good decisions, just execution was exceedingly poor down in that lower fight. Unfortunately for him, it was the right decision, but hasn't worked out, and Effortless has made the most of every situation. Good job of matching Dewey's tempo, but also reading him. I found that Effortless has been getting the jump on Dewey quite a lot this map so far.
Both of them playing for the audio cue. Effortless, he is going to be the one that peaks first, though, so he gets revealed by Dooi. A response rail comes out, and there's the follow-up. Oh, he's hit 3 in a row. Surely not the punish. Oh.
But look how stacked Dewey still is because of the bull rush damage reduction, as well as just the overall stack of Scalebearer. This is the problem against playing against someone like a Scalebearer. You just need to keep on top of them at all times, otherwise their stack can get insane. But Effortless's rails have been really good today.
No, they have been. Like, he's been hitting some crisp shots the entire time. Rocket looking good there as well. You're not really going to miss it if you smash it right into their face. And Dooi going down. Although he's responding well, keeping the confidence up and being able to punish with his aim. Takes a small bit of damage from the turrets. That's at least a read from Effortless, knowing where he's gone. The timing's perfect. He gets him off guard, but neither of them land a tag.
No, they don't. But Dewey's the one that needs to pick up the pace now, as there's only 2.5 minutes remaining. And Effortless is doing a good job of just keep hitting these rockets. Oh, that's a full one. And the rail. Dewey's going to be low now.
Ooh. Effortless. Running the risk. If there was a peek from Dooi, that could have gone awfully bad. Luckily enough, he was able to get the Mega and dash out of there. He does still have a free frag advantage as well. And he's back over by Heavy. Although there's still 5 seconds till it's up. There isn't going to be a push coming through from Dooi. So this has worked out tremendously.
Yeah, he needs to pick up a couple of lights and try and get in position to defend the Mega. But Effortless is just delaying and delaying and delaying. Dooi does know, because he hasn't heard Effortless pick it up or seen him on the map.
Ideal part is as well is he's muddied the timing so much that there's now only about 10 seconds between both of the major items that could come back to help him out a little bit later on if he starts to establish another route of dominance. Or nice bit of backwards B hopping there as well.
Yeah, and Dooi needs to do something now. There's only a minute left.
That's one way to initiate that. Burning his way for his stack quite heavily. If that follow-up shot hit, that could have been a completely different game on our hands. Instead, though, Effortless. He can once again start to assert his dominance with control. He's got the Mega. There is 60 seconds left for Dooi. His slow playstyle is not really helping him out anymore, is it?
No, Effortless, realizing Dooi just picked up the heavy, said, why would Dooi go back down there? As soon as Effortless hears him, can Effortless get away cleanly? I mean, it's almost impossible for Dooi to make a comeback now, as Effortless is still running. Although Dooi knows where he is. He runs into him, he will get the frag hit, but is there time? 30 seconds. He is quite low. Effortless has to spawn to get that Mega.
Okay, I mean, that's a connection, but he needs to kill him now, basically, to have enough time to get the final frag to push this into towards a sudden death. He knows where he's gone. No, that's it. Turning that corner and getting him back down towards heavy, I think, is the final nail in the coffin, honestly.
Yeah. That was a messy game all round, to be honest, but it's good to see that Effortless respected the play style of Dooi, and there were some few situations where Effortless got the jump on Dooi, but not a lot to split them, obviously, at 6-5. The rail really was the defining factor for Effortless in that game. Wherever Dooi was turning, he was always going into the fight slightly low, and they both responded if the frags weren't clean and picking up that refrag fairly easily.
I think it's also the fact that in terms of like the actual aim we saw coming out there and the shots that were being pulled off, Effortless was looking really, really crisp, which is such a good sign because the rails he was hitting were on point, the rockets were nice as well, and also just the actual game mechanics, it looked nice, right? And if he can actually maintain that, obviously, although the series was close towards the end, Dooi started to bring it back. The overall factor is he just needs to keep this going throughout the rest of the series. He took the map still. That's all that matters. The points are the true commodity here.
Yeah, for sure. As we move on to Blood Covenant, Nyx against Athena. Personally favour the Nyx ever so slightly, but if you play Athena well and use her aggressively well, there is there's a huge advantage there in terms of capitalizing upon the Nyx's weakness without her Ghost Walk.
Yeah.
She can't really get away from you if you play well because you have that grapple hook and you have the speed advantage as well to get on top of her. So Effortless needs to carry on with that rail game. That's the one way to keep Athena at bay, is make sure you're keeping a better position on the high ground. Try and keep her stack low, because if she is going to push in, then she's in danger. But once again, I think as the same as always against Dooi, is try not to give away the first frag.
I see. The thing is, in my mind, this game is actually incredibly clean cut in the sense of if Dooi has a good early game, I think he wins it. I genuinely think with the champion picks we actually have coming out here, he would be able to just cause so much turmoil with delaying and burning time down that he could win it. Like, Blood Covenant sets itself up for that. Athena's so good with the mobility she has there. He just needs a strong opener.
I think that's fair, and I would agree with that.
Well, we'll find out if that is going to be the way this game goes once we get into it. For the Nyx, though, Effortless, if he can maintain at least the aiming that he was bringing out, because his combat skills look very good on the opener here, he will have a fair chance. Let's find out those. We're going to be stepping back into it. Our second map of the night here on Blood. Dooi on the Athena and Effortless over on the Naughty Nyx. A nice bit of tracing, but no connection there with the rail.
No, Effortless needing a rail of his own. Obviously, Dooi should try and defend it, but Effortless managed to sneak his way across and pick one up. Dooi instead decides to set up this Mega, having delayed the heavy. Will Effortless push in? No, he's not going to risk it this early on.
Stopwatch.
Okay, so the first Mega is snatched. That'll be claimed by Dooi. He starts to get a couple of those hourglasses as well to at least keep that active up. And that's actually going to be a big bit of it. I think hourglass economy into this game, Dan, could have such a big impact. You think about the fact if this Nyx is isolated from getting any and she just can't get her Ghost Walk out as common as she'll need to, it could really put her into quite a punishing position.
Yeah, that's got to be the game plan. But I think the problem is that's a difficult game plan to execute as Dooi, because your playstyle naturally doesn't lend itself to do that.
Yeah,
you want to catch your opponent in these one-off big moment fights. You need to do that concurrently against the Nyx. You need to do it once and then pressure. I mean, Dooi does have it in him, but that's not his natural playstyle. He just wants to catch you off guard and finish you there and then. But when you're against the Nyx, you cannot always do that.
Right now, it's a lot of just sticking close towards the Mega Room. That's a big tag with the rocket. Yeah, he could finish her here if he actually fully commits in towards the fight. Drops down. Near miss with a rail.
The rail game is so important against light champ. because every rail is such significant damage against such a light stack. So whoever gets that opening rail is always going to be in the advantage. You have to be especially careful with your positioning not to give away free shots.
So we can already see the sort of telltale signs of how Dooi wants to play this one as well, right? Set himself up over towards the mega room, just roam back and forth and play around this bit of map geometry here just to use the angles to his favor. That's actually a really good tag he's got off. Leaves Effortless in quite an awkward position. He's going to have to push in, going close towards the banana. There's the first Ghost Walk forced out as he was inches away from his death.
Yeah, but once again, as we said, he now needs to try and catch Effortless and keep the pressure up, which he wants to do. But at the same time, like, playing this slow game is fine, but Effortless obviously realizes that's what Dooi wants to do. So Effortless is also playing the slow game, trying to listen for those audio cues and just keep running and running and running until the Ghost walks back off cooldown.
Dooi. Back to his old shenanigans, just playing out for the audio cues. Makes his move straight over towards the heavy, using the extra velocity he got from his grapple. There's hourglasses there, of course, as well, so he can try and deny those. Effortless does have his Ghost Walk if he gets into an altercation that he doesn't fancy fighting through. Saw a little bit of him there. So Dooi does have the full read of where he is.
This is the problem. Like, Dooi did such a great job to force that initial Ghost Walk, but didn't do anything to capitalize upon it. So unless he changes that process, this is going to be a long game for 0-0.
And it's more classic Dooi, right? Because he just plays it his way. He's not going to deviate from the way he likes to approach it. Good read there. That was a smart inkling. Knew exactly where Effortless was coming towards. Fires off a warning rocket to at least keep him trapped over towards Mega. Oh, the timing here could be absolutely perfect. Oh, it's not much damage, actually. I thought that rocket would have done more, Dan.
No, it's a very, very strategical game from both of them. Neither one wanting to put a foot wrong. This is why we see Effortless getting out of there without taking that heavy. A, because he has no rail, and B, because it's just not worth it. It's not worth taking damage. Bang on exact timing for the items for both of them.
Yeah, meaning they're probably going to be split of who takes them here. We've seen a lot of favor from Dooi over towards Mega as he will start to move his way back. Need to hit these rails. He's had so many opportunities where he could really start to punish Effortless.
Yeah, and this is it. Like, the rail game is the defining factor of this game, and at the minute, Dooi's not hitting them. I mean, he's got 27. I mean, they're both on 20% rail, so that's why it's such a stagnated game.
Now, the issue is as well, because the fights they've actually gone into, there hasn't been that much of like a full commit into it. Effortless hasn't had to use his Ghost Walk since that initial one. So he's had it up this whole time. So as soon as he feels like, right, I don't want to carry on with this, this is not a fight I'm going to win, he can peace out in a matter of seconds. Smart angle in play here from Dooi, though. Looking straight up, keeps himself tucked in flush against the wall. He sees the barrel of Dewey's rocket launcher, of Effortless's rocket launcher rather, as he'll now wait to see where he's going to go. Heading back over towards Mega again. A very slow game from them. Exactly what you'd expect here on a map like this from Dooi on the Athena.
Yep. Definitely would like to see a bit more aggression from Dooi. I think he needs to be the one to take the initiative. Not, I'm perfectly fine with the way Effortless is playing. But neither one of their rail games is pretty much on point. 15% from Effortless, 25 from Dooi, 2 and 3 hit respectively. There's one. And Effortless is fine because he can play this rail game. He can kill Dooi like that. There's very small chance that Dooi will be able to kill Effortless like that.
It's a very calm game for the both of them. Nothing really too out of the ordinary from what we expect to see coming out. Keeping their distance. No one wants to make the first mistake, and especially this late into the game as well. Obviously that pressure mounts more and more because it's like, well, if I go down now, I'm leaving myself a much more limited amount of time to try and clutch it.
But then this is what Effortless, I wanted Effortless to do, is play that bridge, high ground. No, just keep position. That's all he needs to do.
I mean, it counters Dooi perfectly, right? Because if you can't beat him, join him. Play his playstyle against him, completely counter the way he would like to approach it. Again, these rails, Dan, they need to hit these. Ooh. Finally a Ghost Walk going to be used, yeah.
Oh, and this is a crucial rail. That could have been the game decider as he would have been able to push in. These missed rails are really beginning to hurt Dooi.
Even one or two of them connecting would absolutely shred their way through. And that's the beauty of, obviously, a light versus light matchup. It's the fact that things can turn on a dime so quickly. Whereas now, 7 minutes into the game, and there hasn't been much really to write home about. Finally, a bit of damage being done as the railgun will land. And Effortless quickly dashes out of there. He's also got the Ghost Walks. You'd imagine that'd be popped, which it will. And that's it. He's scot-free.
Word. That was insane. I thought that
the timing was impeccable, to be fair.
Yeah. Like, literally pushing us to the edge. But he has no Ghost Walk up. Dooi should be pushing in here.
Man, that's it. That's the opportunity.
Yeah, like, that's when you go. That's when you push forward. He knows
this is the best advantage he's had in so long.
He knows Effortless is low. He needs to take action. He knows there's no Ghost Walk, which is now back up.
Oh. You can hit the hard ones, but not the easy ones right now, Dan. These rails just whizzing by, really not giving him the oomph he needs. Luckily, with the grapple hook, he can replenish his rail ammunition from quite a substantial distance. He is going to be able to get that tag off as well to slowly whittle away the stack of Effortless. He's got his rocket back. Oh, there we go. That's the sort of damage we need.
Now we can start to look pushing in. He knows he still has to pop up the Ghost Wall, but if it's in close combat, he might be able to do it. If he hits a rail, Effortless will also die. Oh, he just didn't look around hard enough. But you can, as you see, right? Even though Dooi had a big stack advantage, one rail evens it up completely. That light versus light, as you say, turns on a dime.
1 minute warning.
I mean, they've got a combined 2.5k damage between them this whole map.
Yeah.
It's been very, very slow.
Dan, did you know that lightning strikes the earth over 100 times every second? But not a single one of our players here can hit each other.
I enjoy that.
Cheers, mate. I mean, this is it now. Final 30 seconds of the game. It's either this or we go into a full sudden death for one last frag to decide where the game goes. So whoever's looking for a massacre, bust your knives out now. Ooh. Okay, that's a connection from the both of them. Rocket going to whiz by. Dooi going to try and read off the back of that and reposition. This is it. We're heading in towards the sudden death. So the final frag of the game will be the winning frag. The first frag of the game as well, you can say at this point. So here we go. It's time for the sudden death. Effortless does have a Ghost Walk. Dooi, he's about to have all three of his grapple hooks ready as well. So if he needs to go for an escape play, he can, or if he wants to initiate.
He's had a lot of opportunities to initiate. A lot. And obviously we're not going to see an aggressive Ghost Walk coming out from Effortless. It's just not worth the risk against Dooi. He has caught him here. This could be the defining frag. But Dewey's good use of the grapple to get away, and that full rocket is going to force Effortless back away himself.
Although he's running straight towards the rocket, and he takes it to the face.
God.
He's lucky he didn't pop that Ghost Walk earlier. He's made his move over towards the heavy. Now they're both going to retreat.
And we're back to where we were.
All right, here we go.
But there is no Ghost Walk, so Effortless needs to just retreat for 15 seconds and try and grab some vials. So, yeah. How's your weekend, Jackie?
Yeah, not been too bad. I mean, if they do this for another 9 minutes, we'll go into overtime.
Super overtime.
My goodness. I mean,
that's where they both get quad damage.
Could you imagine? That'd be a beautiful state of affairs. Right now, though, it's really just a classic play. I mean, Dewey's basically been doing the same thing for the entire game. Meg has been the room he enjoys to have a sit around. They're both just satting around, Dan.
Well, this is the thing, right? Neither wants to make a mistake. This is Dewey's playstyle, and Effortless has to adapt to it. As we said, you can't always play what you want to play. Now, yeah, Effortless decides to go aggressive this time. Try and catch Dooi off guard, but a bit too slow. And Dooi is well out of there. I don't think Dooi obviously heard that, so Dewey's working under the impression that there is still a Ghost Walk available. Nice!
Ooh, there we go.
Can he rocket jump up to finish him?
He is actually on the hunt. He's trying to chase him down here. The railgun comes out from Dooi and the responsible tag. This might actually put too much fear into Effortless to run the risk of going for another aggressive play, though.
I don't think so. I think Effortless knows he's the one that needs to take the initiative. That's why we see this. Hasn't got time to push back onto Mega, so instead might try and set up a trap here, but Dooi does drop. Effortless just wants to end it, I think. Might even go aggressive with the Ghost Walk.
Ooh, there we go. Nipping at him.
He does, but once again, Dewey's gone the other way.
Ooh. I mean, he's still getting these rails off. He's being able to punish him from a distance, but every time it's just knocking him closer and closer towards a major item to sort himself out and patch himself back up. This could be an actual fight, though. It seems like the aggression is coming through from Effortless. He's actually starting to dive his way in and try and commit. Near miss with a rail, though, as he turns the corner.
He knows where Dewey is. Dewey's back off again to the Mega. And we're back to where we were.
We need to just put them into a box. If we put them on a map that is just a box, this wouldn't be a possibility, Dan.
Oh, Dewey will find a way, don't worry.
Do you know that woodpeckers can peck up to 20 times a second?
Really?
Yeah.
That's the answer to that riddle. Effortless with the opening round, meaning he has an opportunity to go aggressive, realizing that charging around the map hasn't worked because Dewey's using the audio cues to trace him the other way. So that's what Dewey does do well, with all due respect, is he does use audio cues very, very well. You can see Effortless is also frustrated. And again, like, I know it's a bit of a meme, but this is a difficult playstyle to play as Dewey. Like, 14 minutes in without any damage? Like,
Yeah.
you have to be disciplined. It's not fun.
No, it is crazy. Like, obviously, you think about the fundamentals of this. This is taking a lot in the way they've had to approach it. Because no one wants to make the first mistake, because now it's so much time and so much weight that is on the line.
What Effortless can be doing is just play the basics again. Like, I get he's frustrated, but, you know, perhaps delay an item, or you need to play more strategical. Because at the minute, as you said, he's hitting Dewey and he's picking up the items because there's no split between them. Here we go. He's going to end it.
Oh. He's out of grappling hooks. Effortless. Doesn't have the Ghost Walk either. He's diving in. This could be it. He just needs to land a shot. Finally, he takes him down with the LG.
And there we go. Effortless took the initiative and he came out on top.
There you have it. Blood Covenant 2, Electric Boogaloo, the overtime bonanza has been rounded out. Effortless. He won it in the end.
It was Effortless. But there we go. Huge amount of items picked up, not a lot of damage done. It was obviously not the most high free-flowing game, but as we said, like, it takes a lot of discipline to play like that. Effortless also had to show patience. It's not the way Effortless wants to play. It was the way Dewey wants to play. I think that Effortless could have taken more initiative, and Dewey definitely could have taken more initiative, but at the end of the day, Effortless walks away with a 1-0 after, what, 15, 16 minutes of game?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, that's what, 2-0 now in the series. Gonna be pretty happy with himself.
He's got more maps than that game had scoreline.
Yeah.
Just, you know.
Right, that is a stat for you. That's an accurate one. I mean, it is a bit bizarre. Definitely an interesting game, to say the very least. You know, I can count all the frags on one hand, Dan. I remember it so vividly.
Quick maths, man. Anyway, on to Molten. I don't expect anything different. As we said, interested to see what Dewey's going to do with Doom. I don't see a
Yeah.
huge value for the champion, apart from a comfort pick. But perhaps, I mean, abilities aren't the make or break. So it's about what you feel most comfortable playing is when you're going to be playing your best Quake.
Yeah. I mean, it is a weird one. Like, just obviously, like, fundamentally, I don't remember if we've seen a Doom on Molten very
I haven't
commonly
seen a
or
Doom.
at all
I
throughout
don't think I've
Quake Pro
seen a
League.
Doom here, no.
No. It does seem like a bit of a weird champ. So wondering what the theory is behind that. Obviously, maybe just in terms of escaping the double jump. But then there isn't really any angles that are necessary to use the double jump for. Everything's obviously bounce paddable or just not a jump.
Unless he has this new meta of using the Berserk ability just to run away fast.
Maybe. Obviously, we do normally only see that for escapes, so all right, it could be that. I guess we'll have to see. It looks like we are ready for this one, so we're going to be stepping into it on Molten. Let's see if he can bring the heat, or if it is going to be another game that Pronox would be a fan of. Now, Rail coming out opening for Dooi. Not going to be able to connect with it. They split their major items instantly, of course, as Dooi will head on over and snatch away the heavy. And Effortless will take himself a lovely little mega.
Yeah, one thing Dooi is pretty good on this map is playing the angles well. So let's see if he can carry on that against Effortless, where Effortless now has the ability to get on top of Dooi. So I do not imagine this one to be as stale. As we see here, Effortless using that speed advantage. Dooi missing the rail. Effortless realizing that's his go in. Good damage coming out, but Dewey's going to stand his ground because he's got a good stack as well.
Dooi just holding the angle here with the rail, hoping for the push to come through the porter and be able to punish early on if Slash comes sliding straight towards him. 2 seconds till Heavy's up. They're both playing around it to try and get first dibs. Ooh, speed from Effortless. He's a quick boy.
He is always enjoy watching Slash.
Oh, wow.
And there we go. Effortless taking the initiative. And the benefit of playing something like a Slash against Dooi is really good on when he wants to play slow. It's very difficult to hit the opening shot against Slash, and then you're on the back, miss it. So it's what we saw against that's what we saw Cypher doing earlier against Sharon. And Effortless is already trying to do the same thing here against Dooi. So in a way, it's a counter to Dewey's playstyle.
Oh, Effortless. Near miss with the rails. He turns the corner. Already the tempo of this game is completely different to what we had on the first map.
Yeah. I mean, there was no, obviously, light versus light mirror matchup. Same speed, utility, difficult for anyone to take initiative and close the gap, whereas this one is such a different speed and overall utility. See that coming into play, and it's very apparent.
Effortless, just making his moves as he dances around the map, doing the cha-cha slide everywhere he goes for Dooi. Hasn't really got much of an opportunity yet. Instead, rathering to try and set up and play for a trap style of Quake, and hoping that Effortless will slide around a corner, not prepared. Ooh, quite out in the open there, actually relatively exposed, as he'll get the opening rail off. It's a miss from Effortless, but he replenishes himself. Quickly starts to nibble at his heels though, Dan, as they'll punish and be able to take away the mega that Effortless picked up.
Yeah, like I said, Dewey's pretty good at playing the angles on this map and reading his opponents, but going to find it difficult to close the gap on Effortless. Effortless needs earlier, not to go around any blind corners or alleys to run into Dooi. As long as he sticks to the open and plays this range game, and then pushes in when he's got the stack, he should have a solid game plan to play off. But Dooi, that's a good response rail. It's risky from Effortless to stick around so long there. Dooi is now stacked to the brim.
We got a bit of damage off as well. If he wanted to, he could have tried to commit on that. He does have a much better stack, but doesn't fancy his odds. Instead, just going to play it safe and wait for a golden opportunity. A high percentage play where he feels comfortable being able to kill Effortless and keep his stack in a nice limit. This could be that opportunity. Going straight up the bounce pad, but he's taking so much damage on the mid-air from Dooi!
Effortless somehow comes out of there with the frag. No right to kill Dooi in that situation with no stack and the wrong positioning.
No, yeah, that was absolutely filth.
Stopwatch.
That did catch me off guard. That is a big frag to find. Well, 2-0. So Effortless already doubling the kills from the last game, Dan.
It's good to see, but he is on the back foot now. He needs to get himself onto a major item because he is so weak. Obviously, it's difficult for Dooi to push in on Effortless, as we spoke about extensively already with the speed difference. Effortless also heard that pickup, so he now knows when. Very greedy to try and stick around there for a rail. Should have just got out.
No Dooi. Back trying to make something more out of this. One frag behind, half the time gone already.
Oh, that's
okay.
really nice by Dooi.
Yeah, that's sick. Very, very nice. He's been able to actually pull that off with the rockets. Slash might be moving quick, but she's quickly moved into the Nether realm. Lightning gun coming out, but it's not done anything to Dooi whatsoever. A very stalemate fight.
Yeah, and the problem is that Effortless isn't on any major items. A, he's not picking them up, and B, he's not even doing damage. So Effortless definitely needs to put more of a focus on the major item timings. And he's just running into Dooi now. That one was slightly careless. The first one was a good trap, but that one was... Oh, nearly knocks Effortless off the map.
He is getting very lucky with some of these rockets. Like, there is someone on his side right now. As this is ridiculous, some of the shots he's been able to pull off with this rocket launcher.
But now Dewey's got the lead, and that's all he needs. One frag, as we said, and he's very good at closing the gaps and angles of Molten. And without a stack, Effortless can't do what he did in the opening engagements, push in heavily. So he needs to try and get a foothold on one of these major items at least.
Back up on the pedestal. Push going to be coming through, knocks him straight up into the air with a huge rocket. So much damage done, and Effortless forced to retreat and scurry away off the back of that fight. Although he turns the corner with the LG in hand, the rockets from Dooi. He landed it, but it wasn't enough. Couldn't get the follow-up off, and Effortless, sticking to his guns with the LG, slashes his way through him.
Yeah, I mean, Dooi should be pulling out the frag, but he actually ran out of rocket. Couldn't get that final one off. But I mean, it's a high-risk play from Effortless to do that. It's twice Dewey's. Now Effortless has some major items and got good timing.
Yeah, this is a good position now, Effortless. I mean, the way this game is going, it looks like another sudden death could potentially be on the cards, unless there is a far fight that he fancies diving into. Rail in hand, turns the corner, nearly the tag onto Dooi.
He also delays the item to offset Dooi just a little bit.
Ooh. Okay. Well, both of them firing down onto each other. What is going on with the rocket favorability? And they trade, Dan! The weapon selections. They did not want to break away.
I mean, that was really fortunate by Effortless. He got caught there in the choke point. That's 3 times now he's been caught by Dooi. But again, execution on both sides was not the cleanest.
That was ridiculous. What a mind-boggling affair. Now it's still tied up 4-4 apiece off the back of the trade. And they are so close to their demise. The peak from Dooi with full confidence on the rail. It's a huge tag to find. It definitely puts the pressure on Effortless. He's forced to retreat and go for the major item rather than continuing on his warpath. Dooi, though, worse for wear. His stack is much lower. Scavenges a few items, but he loses out on both. The heavy has been snatched, and at the worst possible time as well. There's only going to be 2 more rotations of the items down before we get forced into a sudden death. So this is a sticky situation. Squeaky bum time now.
Effortless doesn't want to take it that far. He knows Dewey's low, wants to try and close the gap, but now he hasn't been able to find him. He will just retreat to pick up this Mega, try and rotate back onto the heavy, where there will probably be a fight, because Dooi will want to stick around for this.
Dooi. Biding his time, playing for the audio cues. 15 seconds left on the clock. They are comfortable taking this to another overtime. The near miss with the rails, he drops down. Effortless going to try and pull one of his own off, but neither of them connecting. He does have the better stack, and he's also got the additional speed to try and get in and stab from the back.
Sudden death.
Dooi is in his favoured position over by that railgun room. Effortless obviously not wanting to push through the choke point. He knows Dewey's up there.
He hears him coming. Here's the plasma trail popping off behind him. Goes straight down the bounce pad. He's looking to end it right here, right now. Although, the amount of damage being done, both of them so close to their own demise, as they're left alive barely with a marginal amount of stack. Look at the re-peak! The confidence from Effortless!
Trying to end it, but isn't able to hit that crucial shot. He's doing everything he can to try and chase down.
Ooh, this could be where it ends. Oh, predicting him to go through the portal. Instead,
he's done it!
He'll find it as he flicks down. Dooi with a rail of a lifetime as he finishes it. That's all he needed. It took him so long, but he did it in the end. A 5-4 scoreline denies the free Odan, stops a huge amount of points going the way of Effortless, and closes down the series 2-1 in favor of Effortless.
Look at the damage difference. Dooi 3.4 to Effortless 2.2 when it was Effortless out trying to take the initiative.
Yeah.
Just shows you how frustrating it is to play against Dewey's playstyle. That you're the one trying to push, you're the one trying to take the initiative and catch your opponent. But Dooi, just always aware of what's going on and where you're coming from, makes it such a difficult task to kill him. And in the end, somehow gets the victory once again. Number of times Effortless could have probably finished him off, but just slightly poor execution. And that's the problem playing against Dooi. He keeps it close. He always wants to he takes fights on his terms a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And he makes your life so hard.
Oh, he does indeed. I mean, Blood Covenant, that was a league of its own in the sense of, both of them with the patience of a saint, not wanting to overstep the mark at all, playing it so slowly. Was it like a 4 or 5 minute overtime before eventually it was closed down by Effortless? And then again, a 1 frag win here on the end, with just the 1 frag advantage going the way of Dooi at the very end from quite a tasty little rail. I give him that. It was nice.
Yeah, it was nice. And it was slightly unclean in parts, but when it mattered, Dooi pulled through. So deserved it.
Yeah, no, definitely good stuff there. Effortless, though, he's going to be happy with this. Obviously, not the 3-0 that he potentially could have had that would have been huge for his standings. You imagine 19th place with that sudden mass collection of points going his way. He would have skyrocketed. Instead, still gets 2-1. That's pretty good. It's manageable. There's enough time left in the season that if he maintains this and gets a couple more, potentially a 3-0 thrown into the mix as well as the weeks go on, he can still get quite far out of relegation. Dooi was in 16th anyway, so it's not going to affect him too much. Doesn't force him back down to relegation zone, I'd imagine, but we'll take a look at that towards the end of the day. For now, though, let's take some time before we come back in with our native Swedish superstar in Sparty facing off versus a man that runs absolutely rampant on the server. I am talking about Cooler. That'll be up after the break.